You know, I never thought I'd see the day when my own child would look me in the eye and tell me I don't belong in the house I built with my own two hands. But life has a way of teaching you lessons you never asked for. My name's Mabel Johnson, and this is the story of how I lost more than just a home. I lost a piece of my heart. I still remember the first day I saw it. A small white house on Willow Street. The paint was peeling, the porch sagged a little, and the front yard was wild with weeds. But to me, it looked like heaven. Back then, my husband Charles and I had just gotten married. We didn't have much. He was a mechanic at a little garage on Jefferson Road, and I worked part-time at the church daycare. But we had dreams, big ones. Charles used to say, "Baby, one day you gonna sit on this porch and rock in your chair while I grill up some ribs for the grandkids." And I'd laugh and tell him, "You better not burn him this time." That house became our promise to each other. We painted it together, board by board. We filled it with laughter, with gospel music on Sunday mornings, and the smell of sweet potato pie during Christmas. When our son, Marcus, was born, that house became his world. His first steps were on those creaky wooden floors. His first birthday cake was in that kitchen with the yellow curtains I sewed myself. That little house wasn't fancy, but it was full of love. But love don't always last the way you hope it will. Charles passed away too soon. Heart attack, right there in the front yard, one hot July afternoon. I remember the sound of the ambulance fading away, and the house suddenly felt so quiet. For weeks, I couldn't even go near his chair on the porch. I'd just sit by the window and stare at that old grill he loved so much. Marcus was 19 then. Strong, smart, full of dreams like his daddy. He promised he'd take care of me. Said he'd never let me go without. And for a while, he meant it. He got a job in the city, started earning good money, bought nice suits and new car. He'd visit on weekends, bring groceries, sometimes even fix little things around the house. I was proud of him. I really was. But somewhere along the line, something changed. Marcus met a woman, Jasmine. Pretty little thing, always smiling. First time he brought her home, she hugged me so tight and said, "Oh, Mama Mabel, Marcus talks about you all the time." I liked her. She seemed kind, caring, the kind of woman who'd keep my boy grounded. When they got married, I cried tears of joy. They bought a small house across town, and for the first year, things were fine. But then came the talk about investment, real estate, and better opportunities. Marcus started talking about how our old house could be worth something someday. I didn't think much of it until he said, "Mama, maybe we should put the house in my name so it's protected legally." He sounded so sure, like it was just paperwork, nothing serious. And I trusted my boy. After all, he was my son. The same baby I rocked to sleep when the thunder scared him. The same boy who used to run to me when he scraped his knee. So I signed those papers, without a single question. Months went by, and slowly, I noticed less phone calls, less visits. Then one day, Jasmine called me, said they were thinking about making some updates to the house. She said it so casual, like it was some project on a TV show. I laughed and said, "Well, baby, you go ahead and paint the kitchen if you want, but let me keep my yellow curtains." She got real quiet, then said, "Oh, Mama Mabel, I didn't mean your kitchen. I meant the Willow Street house." My stomach dropped. "What you mean, my house?" I asked, and she said it plain as day. Marcus said we might rent it out, maybe even sell it later. It's in his name now, after all. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. All I could do was hang up the phone and stare at that old photo of me and Charles standing in front of the same house they were talking about like it was just property. A few days later, Marcus came by. He looked different, more serious, almost cold. He didn't even sit down. He said, "Mama, I've been thinking you shouldn't be living alone like this. It's not safe. Why don't you come stay with us for a while?" I smiled, trying to hold my voice steady. "Baby, I'm fine right here. This house keeps me company." He sighed, rubbed his forehead like he was tired of me. Then he said the words that broke something inside me. "Mama, that house ain't yours no more." For a second, I thought I heard him wrong. But his face, it didn't change. He meant it. He said, "You signed it over. It's in my name now. Me and Jasmine talked about selling it. maybe to help pay off our mortgage. You'll be comfortable with us. I didn't cry in front of him. I just nodded. But when he left, I fell to my knees in the hallway. The same hallway where his baby picture still hung on the wall, and I sobbed until my chest hurt. That night, I sat on the porch, staring at that empty chair beside me, the one Charles used to sit in, and I whispered, "You told me he'd take care of me. Didn't you, Charles? You promised." But promises fade. And sometimes love does too. You ever sit in a house that don't feel like a home anymore? That's how it was those last few weeks. Every wall whispered memories. Every room felt heavier. I stopped cooking big meals. Stopped turning on the radio. The silence just stretched, long and lonely. It wasn't just a house anymore. It was a ghost, and I was haunting it. Marcus came back the next weekend with Jasmine. They stood in my doorway, not holding hands, not smiling, just waiting. He said, "Mama, we found you a room at our place. You'll love it. It's got a nice view of the garden." Jasmine nodded, her smile thin and polite. "We already moved some of your things," she said softly. I looked at her, my throat dry. "You moved my things without asking me?" She looked away. Marcus said, "Mama, it's for your own good." Those words, "for your own good," they cut deep. 'Cause I used to say them to him when he was little, when I made him eat his vegetables or send him to bed early. But now he was saying them to me, like I was some burden to be managed. I wanted to yell, to tell him that house was more than wood and paint. It was memories, my whole life. But instead, I just looked around at the old couch, the clock on the wall, the family photos, and I whispered, "All right, baby, if that's what you think is best." Then I went to my room and started packing. Every item I touched had a story. The quilt Charles's mama made, the teacup with the chip in the rim, the photo of Marcus at his high school graduation. I wrapped them all in silence. When I stepped outside for the last time, I turned the key in the door and felt something inside me turn with it. Their home was nice, big, modern, full of bright lights and fancy things. But it didn't smell like love. It smelled like air freshener and distance. Jasmine tried, I'll give her that. She brought me tea in the mornings, asked about my stories, made sure my shows were on. But I could feel it, that quiet tension in the air. The kind that says you don't belong here, not really. At night, I'd hear them whispering behind closed doors. Sometimes it was about money, sometimes about the house, and sometimes about me. One night I heard Jasmine say, "She's not going to stay forever, right?" And Marcus mumbled something I couldn't catch. I turned over in bed and pulled the blanket over my head, but I couldn't stop the tears. A week later, I was in the kitchen making cornbread, trying to bring a bit of home to this strange new place, when Marcus's phone buzzed on the counter. I wasn't the kind of woman to snoop. Lord knows I raised that boy better than that. But the screen lit up, and I saw my name in the message preview. It said, "Did you tell your mama yet? The buyers want to move in next month." My heart stopped. Buyers? Next month? I picked up the phone, hands shaking. Scrolled up, and there it was, message after message between Marcus and some real estate agent, talking about offers, talking about clearing out the property. My property. The same house where Charles's photo still hung by the front door. I felt my knees weaken. And before I knew it, I was sitting on the floor, the phone clutched to my chest, whispering, "Oh Lord, what have I done?" When Marcus came home that evening, I was waiting on the couch. He looked surprised to see me up so late. "Marcus," I said quietly, "how long you been planning to sell my house?" He froze, didn't say a word. "Answer me, baby," I said, my voice trembling. He finally sighed and sat down. "Mama, we didn't want to upset you. It's too much work keeping it up. You're retired. I got my own family now. It made sense to." "To what?" I cut in. "To erase me? To sell the last thing your daddy and I built?" He rubbed his face, frustrated. "Mama, it's not like that. You signed the papers. Legally, it's mine." Those words again, legal, logic, paperwork. All the things that meant nothing in the language of love. I stood up. My voice shook, but it came out strong. "You might own that house on paper, Marcus, but your mama's heart built it. Brick by brick, prayer by prayer. You can sell the walls, baby, but you can't sell what it held." He looked away. Didn't say another word. The next morning, I packed again. This time, I didn't take much. Just my Bible, Charles's photograph, and that chipped teacup. Jasmine tried to stop me. Mama Mabel, please don't go like this, she said softly. I smiled at her. Sweetheart, sometimes you gotta leave before you disappear. I called a cab and went back to Willow Street one last time. The front yard was overgrown, but the roses I planted were still fighting to bloom. I unlocked the door, walked through each room, touched every wall like I was saying goodbye to an old friend. Then I sat down in my rocking chair, the same one Charles built, and just listened. Listened to the ghosts of laughter, the creak of the floor, the echo of Marcus's little footsteps. When the realtor's car pulled up, I didn't move. A young woman stepped out, clipboard in hand. She smiled politely and said, "Are you Mrs. Johnson? We're here to take some pictures for the listing." I nodded slowly. "Yes, baby. Just give me one more minute." And I rocked and rocked until the sun dipped low and the porch light flickered on one last time. Weeks passed. I moved into a small apartment near the church. Folks there were kind, brought me casseroles, helped me unpack. But nothing felt the same. Then one evening, there was a knock on my door. It was Jasmine. Her eyes were red. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter from Marcus. It said, "Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted to keep you safe, to give you a life where you didn't have to worry about bills or repairs. But I lost sight of what mattered. You. I was wrong. The house sold yesterday, but I kept one thing, the rocking chair. It's at our home now. I sit in it sometimes, and it feels like you're there. I hope you can forgive me." I pressed the letter to my heart, and for the first time in months, I cried, not from pain but release. I never went back to that house again. But sometimes I close my eyes and see it, the porch, the grill, the yellow curtains dancing in the breeze. And I smile, because I finally understood something. Home isn't a building. It's the love we leave behind in people. Even when they forget for a while, love finds its way back. And though my son took away the house, he couldn't take away the love that built it. That love lives on in every memory, every prayer, every whisper of my name. You can lose your house, but never your home.